serve. The people who come later, they miss food. And the food that has been left on the table is a loss. And the statistics has it that every person or Kenyan loses around 99.1 kilos of food every year. And so multiply by the population that we have. So what am I saying? Can we serve what we are able to eat? At the same time, the other consumer awareness that we need to know is what the season has for you. So that you may be also able to buy what is in plenty and cheaper and be able to consume when it is fresh, and you are not going to lose food that has been transported and gotten to be perishable on the way. The perishable food spoil on the way. The other bit of it is the transport sector. How are we doing the logistics of transporting our food from the rural areas or from the farmer to the markets? That is also another issue. How long do our tomatoes take from the farm to the market before we buy? And at the point of buying, how good is the tomatoes you are buying? That's an example. The other bit is that the market, the vendors also lose a lot of food because by the time they receive that food, it is already perishable. They lose money and we lose food at the same time. So we have those as one of them. The other part is we need to advance circular food economics. What am I trying to say? Such that whatever thing that we have lost, can we do a value addition? We can make briquettes, we can make animal feed, we can do other things. We can also dry sand the food, like leafy vegetables, for example. We can dry sand that through the solar, keep it for another time to be used. The other thing is we can process the foods that we have in extra. We can process them to be used, but now here, there is a controversy. And this is something we need also to give awareness to our consumers. The controversy here is we normally, through nutrition, we discourage processed food. Through food loss saving, we say let us process food. So we need to come with something amicable to be able to understand what is this that is processed that we are not allowed to take, and why are we saying also we need to do value addition to the food that we have? So at what point is it safe for us? So those are some of the things. The other thing is that, I'm sorry, I know I have a lot. I wish we could have been given 1 hour. But what I can conclude, let me make a conclusion, because I'm seeing my moderator is almost telling me to stop. In food systems, we have so much. And I can say this, the Daktari, the national government here is a central government for all of us as a county, as counties. What we are sure of, when the national government is doing policies, we are here as county governments to implement. And so we should be at the core and the center, as we are today, of the mandates that we are given to really make food systems succeed. Because after the policies, we need to implement. So on conclusion, cities act as champions of food system transformation through inclusive policies, multi-sectoral partnerships, infrastructure, innovations, and awareness creation. The other thing, in transformation of food waste into resources, it strengthens climate resilience, food equity, and sustainable development. Also, finally, is that most of our markets do not have refrigeration. We don't have refrigeration in our markets. As a county, we have started that innovation at the City Park Market. We have put there a plant for refrigeration of the market foods. It will save a lot of losses. But we need to expand this to other markets and also devolve markets nearer to the citizens so that people do not have to walk all the way to the main market. In the process, some become lazy to walk. Some of them also get to be spoiled on the way. Thank you. Give us more time another time.
Thank you, Gladwell. Thank you very much. Good, good. Now we'll move on to Kisumu County. And we want just to hear, Eric, I just want you to mention what kind of interventions you are putting in place to make use of climate change technologies and while addressing the urban food system resilience. Considering yourself very well placed in a more or less rural setting, I think you have some advantages to that extent.
Thank you so much. So in a bid to address the urban resilience with respect to climate change, what are some of the climatic interventions? One of the things we do in Kisumu and also recommended for other cities is the issue of urban agriculture. The role of urban agriculture in provision in food security cannot be overemphasized. But urban citizens rely on rural areas for food production. So, and in the event that there are climatic shocks, like drought and the rural areas that the urban residents are dependent on for their food supply, in case that supply is affected, by promoting urban agriculture, then at least the food production from the urban areas stands in the gap. One other important practice is urban greening, promoting urban green spaces within the urban areas. Green spaces, especially growing of trees, help in carbon sequestration, that is absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. When that happens, then we reduce the greenhouse gases that are responsible for climate change. And green spaces, the health benefits of green spaces, medical doctors will tell you that the hormone responsible for stress, that is the hormone cortisol, those who interact more with green spaces have got low levels of that hormone in their saliva. And by promoting green spaces within the urban areas, we increase the resilience of the urban residents. Another important intervention is sustainable mobility. If you travel to developed countries, and Kisumu is also trying to do it, is it possible that we have streets with delineated lanes for bikes, for pedestrians? This really improves and encourages residents to use motorbikes, to use bicycles, and also to walk to short distance spaces. When we do this, we reduce the use of biofuels that are responsible for emission of greenhouse gases. So some of these interventions, other countries, if you go to a city like Cape Town or in Amsterdam, you'll find designated lanes for public transport. When there are designated lanes for public transport, electric buses, it encourages members of the public to use public transport as opposed to private cars. When all this is done, again, the overall effect is to reduce the carbon emissions that comes with using cars. Solarization of our cities. Public institutions like hospitals, schools, and even government offices. If we can install solar, which is a green source of energy in our cities, is a climate smart intervention that we can also promote. Gladwell, my fellow panelists, talked about circular economy. If we can recycle our wastes are responsible for a release of methane gas. Methane gas is a greenhouse gas that is responsible for, again, climate change. So when we practice circular economy, not only are we creating green jobs, not only are we creating job opportunities, but we are also helping to mitigate the issue of climate change. Then public awareness and sensitization on behavioral change is a very important intervention in how we relate with our wastes. Do we do waste segregation at the household level? For the rivers and the streams that go through our cities, how do we interact with those wastes? And lastly, it is very important that for cities that have got streams and rivers, we should do what we call nature-based solutions to ecosystem restoration of these rivers. A plant like bamboo naturally purifies because it's a plant that has absorbed heavy metals from some of these rivers. It's a natural purifier for waters. So in a nutshell, some of these interventions can really improve urban resilience by mitigating the climate change effects. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. That's very informative indeed. Now I move on to Elizabeth Imbo. Elizabeth, you are collecting a lot of information on the NICE project. That information is going to be critical in the planning for the future of urban food systems. You have a lot of information. Unfortunately, we don't have much time for you to tell us all about it. I just want you to tell us very briefly on how can urban food systems be leveraged to improve food security and nutrition for vulnerable populations in rapidly growing secondary cities to ensure healthy, affordable, and culturally appropriate diets. I understand that we have about 29% of the urban population that are actually, we can call food poor. They cannot actually afford a meal that would be good for them on a daily basis. So the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Songa, and I would like to appreciate my previous panelists who are from the cities, the real cities. We call ourselves Nutrition in City Ecosystems, but we are working in much smaller cities, actually in Busia and Bungoma. But appreciating the fact that they have laid out some of the factors that in the coming years will really affect the smaller cities, thanks to devolution. So I would like to speak to two important issues which I think are very fundamental. The first one is improving the markets. So we see our informal food markets as very fundamental to ensure that communities have access to safe and nutritious foods. However, there's a general challenge in as far as cold storage, like Madam Gladwell has mentioned. But we also need to ask ourselves whether our vendors are even aware of where their food is coming from. So the question of traceability. And I think this has been spoken about not only yesterday, but even today. Because if they knew where the food is coming from, if they knew if it is safe, as a project, we are keen on something called agroecology, so we are also promoting the more sustainable production mechanisms. So are our vendors able to know where the food is coming from so that the consumers are also able to get that information? And not only about the food, we also want our vendors to have knowledge on what is nutritious food and can they actually form a touch point with the consumers, because we have realized that consumers actually get significant amount of information from the vendors when they go to the market. And I would like to say that as a NICE project, we have started off a partnership with one of the development agencies, as well as the county government, to a process we are calling Know Your Market. All right. So do we understand the governance systems? Do we understand, how the market structure works? Are they having any connections and touch points to the local government so that the market is really able to support, safe and nutritious foods for the local consumers? Now, as I speak about consumers, that is also another factor that we must consider, because a study which we did at the inception point of the project gave us the insights that people generally feel, or the consumers in the cities where we work, generally feel like nutritious foods are out of reach. And in our project, we are keen on promoting local foods, particularly the African leafy vegetables. So to help demystify some of these perspectives, it's important to also look at which are the ways in which we can infuse nutritious foods in the local diets in a way that is not considered expensive. So we are not only promoting the production of these local vegetables. Eric talked about the urban production of urban gardens, but we are promoting more of the backyard kitchens where they're able to grow their vegetables at their homes. But apart from that, using social behavior change and communication approaches to help the communities appreciate nutritious food, to know that it is not expensive, it is not out of reach, and they are able to include this in their diets through what we are calling smart food tips. In the schools, we are also promoting this through the 4K clubs. We have developed some materials which we call play-based material to help the children, even as they grow, to appreciate what a nutritious food is, carry this information, take home to the parents, and in a way creating this loop of knowledge that will be sustainable to the future. I think one of the things that Tari also mentioned was how do we include women and youth? And I would like to say that at the heart of our project, we are keen on working and including the women and youth within the programming. One of the speakers yesterday mentioned that women and youth should not be beneficiaries, and indeed, they are not beneficiaries. However, they are actually at the heart of our intervention. So what we have done as a project is, through what you're calling the multi-stakeholder food systems platform, we want them to be at the core of understanding what the local food policies look like, influencing the local food policies, including working with government to support potential financing mechanisms for foods. We understand that it is a challenge. It might look like a long shot, especially for some of the regions where we are working, but to start the process is the most important thing. And I would want to finalize and conclude that one of the things that we have learned through our process of urban food systems is the setting up of, as we call them, food systems platforms. Kisumu and I think Nairobi have what we call the food councils, and we have promoted the exchange of knowledge, cross-fertilization of ideas and approaches, and we see that slowly coming up within our cities, and hopefully that through their participation, the women and youth in these platforms, then they are really and truly able to influence the policies that will ultimately support the food system transitions in the cities. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I'm particularly happy about you mentioning governance. And in this governance, we want to see how women and youth are actually part of the governance process. Governance is going to be crucial in the urban food system. Let us not just have the women and youth here very prominent, but when it comes to governance, they are not included. I think I was very happy to see, was it Kamau Njoroge, a youth who is a member of the board of the top farmer apex body. I think that's what we would want to see. Now, I move on to Rebecca. Rebecca, FAO has a huge responsibility of shaping the policy. And I think policy is going to be critical in this aspect. I'm just wondering how FAO is going to facilitate the development of policies that will enable us achieve what we are proposing here to enable our food system, our urban food systems to succeed.
Thank you so much, moderator. And let me start by saying I'm quite pleased that urban food systems made it on the national stock take. It's been a while and it's been a lot of advocacy, and thank you to Elizabeth. So we are happy, despite the short time, we are happy that it's made it on the national conversation. So when we think about urban food systems and sustainable urban food systems, failures within the urban food systems, we actually all in this room are casualties of a collapsing or are not an inefficient urban food system, because we live within the heart of that system. We consume from that system, we interact with that system every day. So policies and an enabling environment is going to be critical for sustainability. Some of the policy shifts that we are promoting at FAO to support sustainable urban food systems, and we've done this with our work with Nairobi and Kisumu through development of food system strategies, is on land use planning. Because when we think about urban areas, we are seeing a lot of the land being converted to development, maybe to real estate and to other uses. And less of that land is being utilized for food security or food production purposes. As Eric has mentioned, urban agriculture is key for urban residents. First of all, it reduces the food miles because it is within the city and therefore food is easily accessible. So what we are doing through our Green Cities initiative is to promote policies that integrate food system and particularly urban agriculture into land use planning. This means protection of agricultural land and implementation of zoning guidelines to protect the agricultural land. Sometimes we may think that in Nairobi we have no agricultural land, but you would be surprised that we still have agricultural land and we need to protect it. Cities, smaller cities, at this point, as they are devolving and as urbanization is catching up with them, this is a time that we are going to be working on supporting those countries because we have the Digital Land Governance Program implementing in 47 counties, and through that we are supporting development of the spatial plans, and a key focus is protection of agricultural land, both within cities and also within the rural areas to ensure the urban-rural nexus is taken care of. Another space within the policy that is critical and that we are also working on is within what we are calling governance, as you have mentioned. So how do we raise the voices of the community in terms of policy development and implementation? The food policy councils are one example of how we can bring in community, the women, the youth, the population in the informal sectors of the cities. How can they be the voices in terms of decisions, in terms of what goes into policy? Beyond policy development, how do they become part of the policy implementation? So we are really keen, and we are saying that that is an area that is critical for sustainable urban food systems, ensuring that governance is inclusive, that we leave no one behind, that we ensure our informal sector is included in the governance framework, we ensure that our women, our youth, we have in Nairobi the Food Liaison Advisory Group, and in that Food Liaison Advisory Group we have representatives from the youth, including the youth that are exhibiting at Nairobi booth on waste management. So it is critical that they are part of the solutions in the governance frameworks. Another area where we think that is critical in terms of policy, the policy shifts we need to see for sustainable urban food systems, is in terms of food supply chains. And it has been mentioned, the markets, our cities rely a lot. The two cities that are currently here are considered net consumers. They are considered net importers, meaning that more than 80% of their food will come from the rural areas. So how do we come up with policies to promote shorter supply chains within the city region area? Within the Nairobi metropolitan area, we have Nairobi, we have Murang'a, we have Kiambu. How do we create opportunities to ensure that we reduce that? So we are working on policies that will ensure that the reduction of food miles, we grow food within our city, we promote farmers markets within our cities so that consumers can actually be able to connect and they can be able to get their food within the shortest distance possible, and also create markets that are able to reach them where they are, so that we don't have situations whereby, especially for fruits and vegetables, we have pockets of food deserts within even a city like Nairobi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, in the interest of time, I don't know whether we still have some few minutes for questions. Good, Q&A? very, we would like those questions to be precise to the point, please. Precise to the point. Don't take it for more than 1 minute while asking your question.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Davis Tu. I am an urban farmer and a green champion. And I am a youth also from a TVET in Kajiado, and I've studied agriculture. And currently I work along the riparian of Nairobi River. So that's where I've been based since 2016. And I've been engaging young people in agriculture, especially extension services with county government of Nairobi. So my big question is that we have a lot of farmers, just like me from Nairobi, but we don't have the space to expand our knowledge and to share with our communities. What does the county governments, especially in urban areas, does it have for the young people like me who have the capacity and especially to feed our people?
Thank you. Second one, I think it was somewhere here. Here, the microphone should be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia from Hello Tractor, and my question is not only to Nairobi County but to all the counties in general.
Please say you are a youth so that I can even feel better.
My name is Sophia from Hello Tractor.
A youth?
Yes. Yeah, so my question was, what measures are you putting across for storage? Because most of the time we have surplus of fruits and vegetables especially at a certain period, but then we are not able to keep it balanced throughout the year. So what policies are you putting in place to make sure that we have quality storage and we have supply of these fruits and vegetables throughout the year, and the farmer feels secured and feel that when I have my yields, they're taken care of even post-harvest. So we have the markets, we can access the markets. But what if the market is full and we have surplus? Where are we taking these goods? Where are we taking this produce? So measures to make sure that farmer feel secured even after harvest.
Good, the aspect of storage. I think that is important. Not only the cold storage, but even the post-harvest storage facilities. The third one was where? Here? Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I'm picking from where she has left.
Yes.
I think our research in post-harvest is quite robust. It is available. And therefore, what we need to ask ourselves is how do we tap into that research around post-harvest handling? My name is Penina Mwoki. I work with the International Food Policy Research Institute. And I wanted to encourage us to embrace post-harvest technology. And for us to do that, we'll also have to loop in the consumer in order for the products that have been post-harvest, have undergone post-harvest handling to be acceptable. Because, for example, ethylene gas, which is very easy to use, some consumers may perceive it as unhealthy. But with some education, as we roll out the post-harvest handling technologies, it might lead us to some acceptability amongst consumers. And the other thing is around the CADAP. This morning we've just talked about substantial amount of the processing being localized into these to products within the country. So again, it can help us with the post-harvest handling that we are talking about. Thank you.
Yes, I think that's very encouraging. I think you can have a further discussion with her on these post-harvest technologies. That is extremely healthy. Thank you. I think this was the fourth. And then
I'm the fourth one.
You're the fourth one. Where are you? Oh,
here I am.
Okay.
Oyanka Monica is my name. I'm a nutritionist from Kisumu. Somebody please help me understand the irony of food losses and inadequate food production to even feed our children in Kenya. Thank you.
Okay, please.
If you allow, my name is Dr. William Marithi from Strathmore University. And I just want to ask about the voice of the community I represent, the stakeholder. How are we engaging our academia? Because I think with quadruple helix, academia should be part of this conversation. And even in the previous panel, we didn't have representative or conversation around that. Two things. As part of research, what is there, how to document this research, good cases, how to use it. There's quite a lot of information that can be gained and we can benefit from that. Secondly, we play a role in educating the next generation. Why are we not using this kind of localized information for us to advance that in the classroom and in the future generation as well? Thank you.
Good. I think academia, one of the facilitators here was from one of the universities, isn't it? At least I remember one of the professors facilitated a session here from one of the universities. But we agree with you, we need to have them more because they are a very huge resource. The last one?
Thank you. My name is Hannah Kigamba from Diabetes Awareness Trust. My question goes to Gladwell or any other panelist can answer. It's on how you're linking the urban food system with health system, and also what he has mentioned about education in order to have a holistic approaches in addressing malnutrition and the rise in cases of NCDs, especially in urban areas. Thank you.
Good. Can we start with you, Rebecca? In the interest of time, you respond to whatever was yours and also probably make your final remark, and then we move on from there.
Okay. Thank you for that question. And I do agree the statistics indicates that non-communicable diseases are on the rise, especially within urban areas. So with the work that we are doing currently at FAO, one of the things that we are doing to connect the food systems to nutrition, we are developing a school garden guideline. This is done in collaboration with WFP and UNICEF. And this is a guideline that cuts across not only the rural areas, but all areas, including the cities, to inform how do we also reduce the issues of non-communicable diseases, which are also on the rise for children, especially in urban areas, because of consumption of very highly processed and starchy foods. So that's one of the way. Another way we have done is integrating issues of health and issues of community awareness within the policies that we've supported. For the Nairobi Food System Strategy, the issue of engagement of the community and awareness on consumption of healthy diets is critical within that strategy. And so that is one of the ways, and we're also supporting in terms of awareness, engagement, training in terms of how do you, what are you supposed to be consuming. So the food system actually links with the issues of healthy diets in a very, it's very connected to the issues of healthy diets, and so we are trying to do as much as possible with the policies that we are developing, including the guidelines on how to promote consumption of healthy diets. Yeah.
Good, thank you very much. Very briefly, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much, Dr. Songa. I will tackle the question that was raised on the presence of academia. And I would like to say that we actually, as a project, have been partnering with Kibabi University on issues of value addition. And this we have also done together with Kenya Institute of Research and Development, KIRDI, and also with KEBS. And this is specific to issues of managing glut. So I did mention that we are engaged a lot in African leafy vegetable production, and we experience the issues of glut. Like right now there's rain, so there's a lot of vegetables. So as part of our interventions, we have partnered with the university together with these agencies to ensure that we are doing proper value addition to extend shelf life and also retain the nutrient content. About the school, we do also have part of our work that ensures education for the children. I did mention earlier about the 4K clubs, but also we have several material that targets children from the much younger children up to around 13, 14 years with the objective of giving them the information on nutrition, production, understanding healthy diet, so that they also have this information as they grow older. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Now we come back to the cities. Gladwell, please.
Thank you so much. I don't know, I have several questions which look like directed to us, but on the question coming from the youth from TVET Kajiado on riparian land farming is that I want to confirm to you that land as a resource is continuing to be very scarce in Nairobi, and what we are tapping in urban farming is the innovations and new technologies of farming, which include vertical farming and also hydroponics. This technology and knowledge, you can get it through our institution, specifically agriculture in Nairobi County, through our extension services officers. They can actually help you in getting those technologies and new innovations. So please do not feel frustrated by the scarce land issue. So come to the new technologies. The other thing is there is one person who asked about measures of storage, that is the policies around that are going to help us in storing our food. We know historically is that we have NCPB, that is National Cereals and Produce Board, which was mandated to really store for us our cereals. And in such areas like Nairobi, we are aware that most of our vendors, they are not farmers, they are vendors. They get the food or the cereals, and for sure, the storage has been a real issue that needs to be addressed, because as we speak, I'm sure most of our cereals, if they are taken to laboratory, quite a number of them has aflatoxin because of the storage. And so this is a concern, and it is something that we need to take into consideration so that that food is stored well. Otherwise, the perishable goods, that is the vegetables in our markets, the only way we can store that one is through cold chain, the cold storage for use on another day. And also, like I said, processing of the same to be packaged. You dry them through the solar, you package and keep them to be used on another day. This is so much applicable for tomatoes and leafy vegetables. So we have so many technologies. We also need to teach our vendors at the market on how to do that. The last one is that the market linkages, that is becoming an issue, the consumer and the market. So as a county, through food systems department or directorate, we are coming up with a hub called a dashboard for the market, so that the members of Nairobi County or the public can be visiting that dashboard and so see which food is in which market, at what price, so that you can be able to really visit the market and get that food. Sometimes the market you are in closer to you might not have what you want, but it is in another market just at the proximity of where you are, and you can actually get it. And so that you can also get it at competitive prices if we expose it to you. Last is the food loss. Madam here asked about the irony of food losses as compared to children who are not eating. This is a failure in food systems. This is a food systems issue, because if we, for example, we have excess food in Kiambu, and sometimes they even get potatoes and other vegetables, they feed them on their animals, while some people in Lodwar have not eaten for several days. So this is a food systems issue that needs to be worked on, so that food does not get to be lost in one area, while in another area, people are suffering from getting food. I think I've tried to answer.
Yeah, that was very comprehensive. Yes, Eric.
Thank you so much. So my comment is on how we link with the academia. If you look at the food system platform in Kisumu, that's the Food Liaison Advisory Council of Kisumu. We have got two universities, that's Maseno University and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University, that sits on that council. And because of the research the two universities did on the Kisumu County Food System Assessment, they actually identified the gaps that around the food system in Kisumu County. And because of that research, it actually informed the strategy that Kisumu County has developed. So as a county, we are beneficiary of research work by those two universities. We also have the youth living along the riparian land. What we try to do is to capacity build them on how to sustainably interact with the river without necessarily polluting it. And then lastly, on issues of cold storage, Kisumu County is supporting in the installation of cold storage facilities, especially in the fresh fish markets. And that has gone a long way in reducing the post-harvest losses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we need to appreciate our panelists. I think all in all in this conference, in this summit, there's been a lot of information. I'm leaving here very enriched by an agriculture secretary. I believe it's the same for all of you. And the most encouraging was the proportion of women and youth in this summit has been very encouraging. Thank you very much. So a hand of appreciation for the MC. Oh, I was almost saying that if you are not there, I take another round of question. Thank you very much.
So maybe you can take a nice photo just before you leave. Okay. All right, let's appreciate the lovely, lovely panelists. As we've heard throughout the forum, if we are to build food systems that are resilient and inclusive, we cannot overlook the urban space. So allow me to just dive right into inviting a lady called Miss Jacqueline Milgo, and she represents the Agritech Africa. She'll just be giving few remarks. Thereafter, we're going now to be mentioning, or rather the declaration. Okay. Sorry about that. So we're going to have a short video running through. Then thereafter, we're going to have Miss Jacqueline Milgo from Agritech Africa. So I hope the video is ready.
Welcome to the National Food Systems Summit, United Nations Food Systems Stocktake 4. This is a consultative stock-taking moment of the multi-sectoral efforts and contributions to food systems transformation in Kenya. The meeting will document concrete actions taken to implement food systems transformation in the country. The National Food Systems Summit focuses on 5 key areas: enhancing access to productive resources for the youth and women, increasing digital agricultural solutions, improving dietary diversity, strengthening climate action for resilience, enhancing partnerships, and affordable finance. The conference will showcase digital technologies and data-driven evidence for decision-making, such as Kiamis integrates agricultural value chain actors' data from multiple sources to streamline service delivery. E-subsidy platform enhances transparency and efficiency in the distribution of fertilizer by directly reaching registered farmers through mobile technology. The Kenya Agricultural Market Information System provides real-time market prices